The next show we're going to be talking about is Restaurant to Another World.
This was just all sorts of interesting. I'm of the mind that it almost seems like a cross between some sort of fantasy version of Food Wars.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because like this guy is, and I'm glad. Okay, because I remember before we were talking about when we were with leading up to it, the preseason, that we were kind of we're like worried of how far they were going to go with it. I'm glad they went as far as they did with it.
I was waiting for cats.
yeah, I was too. I was like, oh, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. But the fact that they go, and I'm wanting to see even more variety in what they've done so far. But I like the direction that it's heading in, especially for me because dragons and everything, and I love dragons. And seeing that, I'm like, oh yeah, this is freaking awesome. So for those of you who have not seen or heard about, because I know this is kind of one of those that I think this one and a few others have kind of been pushed under the rug and people haven't really paid too much attention to it. It's basically about a restaurant that during the weekends there are, I think it's just one day, or is it during the weekends, you think?
I think in the synopsis it said like a Saturdays or something like that. I think it was like a one special day.
So basically the store is closed to the general public. Like I don't think they really explain it as far as where it's at, but I think it's somewhere in Tokyo, somewhere in Japan or whatever, the actual restaurant itself.
Yeah.
But when it's closed to general public, the door, and I think they kind of like barely touched on it, but they haven't really said exactly how this happens. But the door will all of a sudden to the restaurant itself will appear in other worlds, other times. And basically, this guy who runs it, and he got it from his father, and his father was also there, because I've seen episodes where you see his father and him cooking as well.
Okay.
For these people. They open their doors to whoever comes in and wants food. And you'll have the wide spectrum of people. I've seen lizard men. I've seen samurai, wizards, a dragon that took on human form, some count or earl from like some dukedom that happened to just come across the door randomly, and the door itself will appear, like when the earl found it, it appeared on an actual log cabin. So he thought he was actually walking into a residence, and it ends up being a restaurant, and he got highly confused about it. But that's what it was. Or like with the lizard, it was an archaeologist. An archaeologist found it in a treasure cave, and literally the door was just standing there by itself, nothing else around it. And they open the door, and literally it's like walking into the restaurant, but literally it's from their world, and it only appears. Yeah, no, you're right. It is only because it only appears every 7 days. Once every 7 days, it will appear in locations.
Oh, okay.
So there's a time frame for it. So, but like it intrigues me because like on the first episode, you got it with the dragon, lady, and she called it her treasure.
Yeah, because it like appeared right in the middle of her gold coin field.
I love the fact that they did that, because I mean that's I haven't seen that dragon wise in a long time, because dragons are known hoarders. They love treasure and love shiny things. So the fact that they had that huge mounds of gold and everything, and it was just funny. She, how she got the stew or whatever, and then came back and transformed into her normal form of a dragon and had this big pot of stew, but it was tiny compared to her, and just started licking at it. I was like, that's just hilarious, honestly. Yeah. But then the fact that the demon girl came along, and I'm guessing that they're in the same world.
Yeah, I think those two people are definitely in the same world. I haven't seen other people.
Yeah, but because she ended up walking in and doing all that with the guy who runs the place, and yeah, the girl you see is also the one that's on the picture from that we have up there. So
she doesn't look like a demon girl, but she's a demon girl.
No, she's a demon girl, yeah.
By blood.
By blood, yeah. And the fact that she agreed to work for him, and then the minute she did, the dragon lady knew, or no, she was looking in. She was looking in to see what was, because I guess she sensed that there was something different inside of her treasure, as she put it, and she saw the demon girl. So then she decided to go investigate. And I like the fact that she's, even though that it's someone who came in randomly to her treasure, she's literally, and Demon Girl's worried about being like picked on or whatever, or having issues in her life. And when the dragon lady flew over, she was like, "You're not gonna have any worries anymore. I'll protect my treasure." And I'm like, "Oh, I like that. That's
Yeah, that
nice."
was so cool. Because
I
like,
like.
I don't know, this show had kind of a rough start for me because like you start with a bunch of the people from different worlds all eating, and like one dude's like, "Oh my god, this is the best with rice," and then they others like, "No, this is the best with rice," and they start getting into this like argument, and like they're about to destroy the restaurant, and the dude comes out, he's like, "Hey, y'all need to cut it out," and they're like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry."
Well, no, he's like, if y'all don't cut it out, I'm not gonna serve you any more food. And they're like, "Oh, we don't want that. Yeah, no, we're good."
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like, I like the premise of it. It's just I don't think they're really doing a whole lot with it. But I don't necessarily mind that. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, because like that argument started, and I was kind of upset, and then the dude came out just cool. I'm like, that is awesome. I like him. Like the very first line he said, and he was like on my good list. Then when the dragon came out, she's like this voluptuous lady, and like she came, and like her butler dude was like, could you make me a dress and all that kind of stuff? And me in my head, I'm like, why didn't you prepare that before? If you're embarrassed, why are you sitting on top of a pile of gold just naked while he sews you a dress or whatever? And I'm like, just and then the way that she treats the demon girl later, because she's like looking on the restaurant, because she, like you said, she notices something different. And then because she sees that the girl's gonna help take care of the restaurant, and then she also notices that the girl's like worried about things attacking her and stuff like that, and she comes over and like puts her like dragon blessing on her. Like that completely flipped my opinion of that character. And then also like how she's in the restaurant and like eating all like proper and everything, and then when she gets out, she's like a giant dragon with like a little thimble basically of stew of stew, and then she has to like just drink a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
It's like she could just change back into her regular form, but nah, she probably feels more comfortable in her dragon form, and like it's a big it was now all of that made me like love that character now.
Yeah.
So as far as the show,
I will say is like for the fact that she was saying about make me a dress is probably because technically speaking she doesn't care. To her, when she goes into her human form, it's the same as when she's in her dragon form. She's naked. She doesn't care. But the fact that she probably only does it for the owner.
I can see like she walks in just butt naked. He gets all pissed off at her.
Yeah, probably. And that's probably happened before. And he's been like, no. If you want me to serve you food, no. Stop it. Put some clothes on. So it's like that's probably the reason why she didn't have anything prepared, because technically speaking, she doesn't care, but she kind of does only because she knows she needs it. Otherwise, he won't give her food.
Yeah.
So,
and
go ahead.
Oh, well, I'll say one thing. It's unlike a lot of other shows this season. I love this show because within one episode, you can think of a situation and you already know how other characters will react because they've built the characters like that well so quickly.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Completely agree. I mean, and each episode so far has been just like little snippets. It seems like it's all different worlds that we keep going to and whatnot. But each time we learn just a little bit about who visits and why they do and the relationship that they have. You know, like I was saying, the archaeologist, there was her uncle who, during his last years of his life, stayed in one village. And she kept trying to figure out, this girl that was there kept trying to figure out why her uncle did that. It's like there's nothing big about this village. In fact, there's only one cave nearby, and it has nothing in it. But here's the thing. Nobody ever went there during that time frame when the door appears. So she actually learned through his journal and deciphering his code that there was something that appeared there, and it only happened one time every 7 days. So she made sure to go there, and then she entered and found out what it was. And, you know, just like a restaurant, they gave her the menu and everything. But the guy, the owner, realized who she was. Realized that who she was related to. And then ended up talking with her a little bit about her uncle and whatnot. And she ended up ordering the same thing because she didn't know what to order. So she ended up ordering the same thing, coincidentally, that her uncle almost always ordered when he was there. And then when after she'd eaten and enjoyed it, and I think she had like second helpings even, he ended up giving her a to-go thing and said it was on the house because of he goes, every time your uncle came to eat, he would always order one to go. So I ended up making one without realizing it to go. So this one's on the house from us. And then he asked and found out the uncle had passed away. So, and he was like, well, you're more than welcome to stop by. We're here, once a week. You can come in. So it's those little snippets and like that, and like with the lizard men, the door appears and it's their way of getting food for their village. So he always takes like to go things as well. But to them, I think the person who went in there first made it seem like it was a big thing, big to do. They had to do some fighting, so they always send their most prominent warrior or whatever. But he knows what it is, so he goes in there and he actually, even though he's a lizard man, big lizard man, he'll sit down just like any normal person. He takes his meal and then he orders things to go.
Nice.
And it's just like and it's just, again, it's little stories. So like this is very much a slice of life, but it's a very interesting slice of life to me. Yeah. So this is what Centaur Warriors should have paid attention to when doing theirs, and how they should have approached theirs as far as everything developing like this. So anyways, yeah, love the show. Awesome show. It's nothing big, nothing major. It's not going to hit, I don't think, anyone's like top 10 list of animes for this year or whatever, but it is not a bad anime. It is actually really nice and enjoyable. It's a nice, again, slice of life. You ease into it, you enjoy the story, you enjoy the ride for what it is, and that's it, So, A+ to me.
Cool.
You'll get to the crazy hectic moments later on, but when you first ease into it's literally you're easing into it. You're easing into somebody's life. And this, they just threw you into the deep end of the pool and told you to swim. And he's not overpowered to be overpowered. He's overpowered because he got these abilities and he has the ability to reason and think outside the box and use them for